Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah. There is a unity in the universe, and man needs to understand this unity. And this unity is a great mystery. We all seem to be separate from each other, yet we are intertwined in a mystical fashion. And in truth, God is one, man is one, and truth is one. And God has no differences. Truth has no differences. Justice has no differences. Compassion has no differences. Love has no differences. There's a unity amongst all of it. And the ones who have wisdom understand that. When man is attached to any particular thing, to his blood ties, to his religion, he cannot become truthful. He cannot do truthful things. He can't dispense justice. His attachment stops him from dispensing justice, because when he is attached to something, he favors that something over everything else, and it disrupts the unity in existence. And if someone tries to do true duty, God's duty, while they are attached, things will go wrong and there will be problems. Those who do God's duty can't have differences. Those who do God's duty can't have attachment. We individually have to understand that duty is something that we are supposed to do, but results of that duty are not in our hands. Everything is in God's hands. Man believes that he is the doer, but in fact, he is not the doer. God is the doer. What we do is the best we can. And in doing that, we allow Allah to do his work, which is the final work. And when we do this duty, there has to be compassion and mercy within what we do. There has to be justice within what we do. There has to be empathy for others within what we do. In this world, so many people are without empathy. Not only empathy for humanity, but empathy for the animal kingdom. Men go out in boats and fish, and their intention is to bring back an enormous number of fish. They go out with nets and fish, and their intention is to bring back an enormous number of fish. And they don't need these fish to eat. They need these fish for profit. So man goes and catches all these fish to make money for the marketplace. But these men who catch these hordes of fish have no feeling for the sorrow and the difficulty that the fish are put through. It's the same for butchers. Butchers don't feel the difficulty and the sorrow of the throats that they cut. Man is oblivious to these things, and he isn't conscious of these things. He isn't conscious of the sorrow that he inflicts. He isn't conscious of the great pain that he inflicts. Look at the difference between a man who has a pole and a line and sits to catch one fish. He gets enough for himself, and he limits the amount of sorrow he inflicts. But he also learns patience. He may have to sit 3 hours to catch that one fish, but he has learned about patience. He's learned about what it takes in order to get something done when it doesn't go quickly. A true man has to learn to treat all people equally, not just his parents or his siblings or his relatives or his close acquaintances. There has to be an equanimity in the way a true man treats everyone. They cannot have favorites. A sheikh cannot have favorites. A sheikh does as the rain does. The rain falls, and it falls for everyone, and everyone gets a portion. And it's up to them as to whether they take it or not. And if you can do that, if you can do away with differences, if you can do away with favoritism, if you can do away with attachment to certain sects or religions or nationalities or races or peoples, things will change within you. God's justice will grow within you. God's grace will grow within you. And your karma will be cut away. Your attachment to all of these things will be cut away, and you will become more and more pure. You will become more and more able to come closer to reality. Man needs a teacher, and you have to find one teacher, one true teacher, one true sheikh, one true guru, one who knows the truth. But there are so many teachers out there, and so many of them are peddling so many different things. Some will try to teach you how to walk on water. Some will tell you that they'll teach you how to fly. Some will stand motionless like a stork for hours and hours and hours and tell you to imitate them, and that somehow through these uh, practices you will find some kind of enlightenment. The truth is, these people are merely imitating what the animals can do. A bird can fly, so is it a miracle that a man can fly? A fish can walk on water. Is it a miracle that a man can walk on water? A stork can stand still for hours. Is it a miracle that a man can stand still for hours? Or are these just tricks? Are these tricks that men are doing? There is only one way to find reality. There's only one methodology to find reality. And only one kind of teacher is going to be able to help you on that path. And that's the teacher who teaches the qualities of God. That's the teacher who teaches wisdom. That's the teacher who tries to bring you into the understanding of what God's qualities are and what your relationship to those qualities are, and how you can incorporate those qualities into yourself. If you do that, then real progress can be made in your life. A dog can smell his master. Can we find our master? If we are interested in finding our master, then we need a teacher of wisdom, one who has actually understood what it is that he's teaching. If a doctor wants to operate, if he wants to operate on people in order to help them with their situations, can he just go from school to operating? Can he read books and from books begin to operate? Or does he need a mentor? Does he need an intermediary who shows him how, who he can stand and watch? This is what a true guru does. He shows us through himself what it is that is necessary in order to be in that state that understands wisdom and that comes to know wisdom. We need wisdom. We need to understand what wisdom is. We need to understand how wisdom works. And we have to understand the qualities that are God's in order for us to become at one with those qualities. A Hindu man will walk around with his beads and his robes. A Christian will walk around with his robes and his cross. A Muslim will walk around with his cap and his robes and his beads. And all of them will tell you that they're holy men. Yet these external signs of the religion are very easy. You can go to any corner store and buy all these things and put them on and pose as one who is religious, as one who is a saint, as one who knows the way. But the truth is, these are very, very easy things to do. The real difficult thing is to change internally into true man, to change internally from the qualities that are abhorrent in this world to the qualities that are godly and the qualities that belong to God. This is the true miracle in existence. If we can do that, then we can move forward and we can become a true man. To understand the nature of a true man is to understand the nature of reality. A true man lives in reality. All other men live in the intellect. They live in an area below reality. To find reality, we need a mirror of wisdom. And the sheikh is this mirror. The sheikh comes before you as an example of what it is that you can become. And for you to know what it is that you can become, you have to see what it is that you can become. Man is limited in his knowledge to what he sees. And if he does not see it, he will not know it. So Allah, in his mercy, has sent us examples to look at so that we can see what in fact it is to become a true human being. So he has placed amongst us these true human beings in order for us to be able to learn from them. But if you want to bathe, you have to go to a place where there's water. The water will not bathe you. You have to jump into it. You have to take the water and you have to rub yourself. And it's the same way when you're with a sheikh. You have to jump into him. You have to learn from him. You have to do the work that he tells you to do. You have to do that which he is teaching you in order to make the steps in the direction towards understanding what it is that he's trying to teach you. Books can't convey to you what a living example can convey to you. It is said that on this path, you have to have a mentor, you have to have a teacher, and the nearness to the teacher is a big part of the understanding of what it takes to become real. The transfer that occurs from the teacher to the student is one of the miracles that Allah has set up in this world for those who are seeking Him. He has sent men in this world who are capable of transferring what it is that they know to others. So the teacher can transfer to the student the knowledge that he has through nearness, through the vibration that comes from him. Now, of course, words are going to come from him, actions are going to come from him, but there's also a resonance that comes from him because the teacher is somehow connected to reality, and reality has a resonance that flows through him. That same resonance then flows to you. And through the connection with that resonance, you are able to come closer to the truth. You are able to come closer to reality. This is the way it is. And this is the way it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. The teacher teaches the student, and it is the obligation of the student to take on the qualities of the teacher and, in fact, become the teacher. The teacher is the exemplar of what a true human being is. So if you're going to become a true human being, you must become like the teacher, which means you have to develop the actions of the teacher. You have to develop the speech of the teacher. You have to develop the temperament of the teacher. You have to develop the subtle nature of the teacher. And then you enter into the truth. You enter into consciousness that is beyond that which is the intellect. Religion, philosophy, all stop at the level of intellect. But to find truth, you have to go beyond intellect. And there are levels of consciousness that are beyond intellect. There's judgment, wisdom, subtle wisdom, and divine luminous wisdom. Intellect is limited to what the eyes can see. Intellect is limited to the form of this material world. We have to go beyond form into understanding the formless world. And the formless world is found through the qualities and through wisdom. Love can't be measured. It has no weight. Compassion can't be measured. It has no weight. Justice has no weight. All of these qualities that belong to God have no material substance, yet their power is immense, and their power can be felt within this world and is incredibly influential in what goes on in this world. Yet, you can't put it in a box. You can't send it to somebody. You can't give it to somebody. It has to be developed within them by themselves. You can't wrap it up and transfer it to somebody. They have to want it, and they have to do the work that it takes in order to be able to get it. And when this occurs, then true change occurs in man. Our life is a drama, and we should understand that we are constantly in the midst of this drama. But there's going to come a time, a moment, when we're going to have to take the costume off, when this drama is finished, and then our true form will be seen by ourselves. And at that moment, we'll be able to see what has been elevated in our life and what has been degraded in our life. And we will become totally aware and conscious of who, in fact, we are. We'll be able to recognize what we've done that's right and what we've done that's wrong. And in this recognition, we will begin to understand how we spent our life. If we recognize the qualities, and if we devote ourselves to the qualities, then we'll be moving in a direction that will have substance for our life. If we move in the direction of anything else other than the qualities, other than obtaining the qualities, we are living lives that have no substance. It's like eating foods that have no calories. They don't do anything for you. And this doesn't do anything for us. Somehow, we have to internalize our existence. We have to internalize our existence to understand the nature of truth. In internalizing our existence to understand the nature of truth, we can begin to form an intention that brings about change within us. Through intending that we understand the qualities, we can, in fact, understand the qualities. Intention is very powerful. Intention connects itself to the intention that exists within the universe for us. There is an intention for us to understand reality that exists throughout the universe. There is an intention for us to reach the highest heights that we are capable of that exists within the universe. We have to match that intention ourselves. And then we can begin to know the primal treasure. We can begin to know the truth of God's existence and the truth of our own existence. And when this occurs, then we begin to take the steps towards becoming true man. True man is in touch with his creator. True man knows who his creator is. True man is aware of reality. True man knows who he is and knows who his God is. God exists everywhere. He is the life within life. He is within and he is without. He is the primal force. So We don't need to look for God. We need to look for wisdom so that we have the capacity to understand God. We have the capacity to understand reality. We have the capacity to see what is real and what is not real. We have the capacity to know that which we should be involved in and that which we should not be involved in. We have the capacity to put ourselves in places that are positive for us and stay away from places that are not positive for us. If we know the levels of consciousness and we know that there is more to us than the intellect, that we know that there's more to us than our interaction with form, we are beginning to go in the right direction. But first, we have to find a teacher. We have to find a teacher who can explain to us the nature of the qualities, who can explain to us the unity of existence, who can explain to us our interrelationship with God, who can explain to us that Allah has made us as his most profound creation, and he made us to know him. He made us so that we can be aware of him and we can interact with his qualities. Imagine God is, in fact, his qualities. That's his nature. That's his form. And in his mercy, he has allowed man to share in his form. God is merciful and he allows man to become merciful. God is justice and he allows man to become just. God is love and he allows man to understand love. These gifts are all available to man if man lets go of all that he has held dear within the world of form. The form world is a world of deceit. It's a world of selfishness. It's a world of grasping. It's a world of hoarding. It's a world of holding on to. It's a world of limitation. And when we devote our life to this world of limitation, we have missed the point of the great expanse that is God. God is limitless, and his qualities are limitless. God's love is of such vastness that no matter how much of it you take and distribute to others, you have in no way diminished him. God's justice is so overwhelming that no matter how much of it you take and distribute to the world, it doesn't diminish him. God's compassion can't be diminished. God's qualities can't be diminished. They are so vast and so overwhelming that no matter how much you take, it doesn't matter. They're not diminished. So there is no hoarding in the world of truth because the amount of things is sufficient for all in abundance. In God, there is abundance. In the world, there is scarcity. In God, there is no need to worry about anything. In the world, we are constantly worried. We are constantly setting up situations where we traumatize ourselves, thinking we can't or don't have enough. We need to learn how to live in the world as if we are living in a world of abundance. We need to learn to give up worrying. We need to rely on God's mercy and God's compassion. And we need to believe from the bottom of our being that God will in fact provide and God will take care of us in every situation. And there is no situation where he will abandon us. He is closer to us than our own mothers and fathers. He is closer to us than any relative we could have in this world or any support that we could have in this world. He is constantly giving to his creation, and he is constantly providing for his creation. Now, man, in whatever station he is, he retains only that which he has seen, only that which he knows. He can't go beyond that which he knows. So, whatever station he's in, he's stuck in that station. And all of us are born into this world with parents who've trained us in certain ways, and we're born into certain religions who've kept us within a certain parameter of that religion. If you take a horse and you put a bit in its mouth and you have reins, you control that horse, and that horse goes where you want him to go, and he can't go beyond that. If you're tied to your ancestral ideas, it's a bit in your mouth that holds you in place. If you're tied to a religion, it's a bit in your mouth that holds you within the parameters of that religion. And again, religion goes up to the level of intellect. We need to escape intellect and go into the level of wisdom. We need to escape form and go into the state of formlessness. We need to escape form and go into the level of light. God's kingdom is a light kingdom. The qualities are without form. They are light qualities. They don't have the same kind of substance or understanding that form has. We need to begin to understand that nature, that formless nature. And we have to become comfortable within that formless nature. We came into existence as a light, and then this body grew around that light. And we have become associated with this body as if this body is who we are. And this body is not who we are. Within us is the truth of who we are. And even though it is almost impossible for most men to imagine, when this body disappears, our true form will reappear. And when that true form reappears, that's when we enter into reality. That's when we enter into God's kingdom, depending on what we've done to ourselves in this short period of our life. So even though this life is temporary and this life is short, this life has an effect on the eternality of our souls. It has an effect on who and where we travel after we leave this body. If we don't transcend the elements, if we don't transcend our attachment to things, we are subject to rebirth. We're subject to doing this over and over and over again until we get it right. And getting it right means releasing ourselves from it. Getting it right means getting to the point where we, in fact, do God's duty as opposed to trying to satisfy the desires that come from our mind. We are subject to our mind until we transcend it. And when we are subject to our mind, we become subject to our desires. And if we are subject to our desires, that means we live a life of grasping and trying to obtain things and trying to have things. And we see ourselves as separate. I have, you don't have. I need, I want. It is all for me. When we understand unity and we transcend that, that's when we become true man. A seed is planted. The seed sends up a shoot. The shoot becomes a sapling. The sapling becomes a tree. The tree then has branches. The branches blossom and flowers come out of the branches. From those flowers come fruits. The tree does not eat its own fruit. When the tree has gotten to the point that it is laden with fruit, and that fruit is for the benefit not of the tree, but of everyone else, that's when wisdom is reached. We have to become like that fruit tree, full of favors, full of taste, full of goodness for the rest of humanity. We have to come to the point where we are giving to the rest of humanity, where our work is to do God's duty. And when that happens, then we become true human beings and we do what God intended us to do here. God sent the teachers to create teachers. Sufism is, in fact, a school for saints. If you've gotten on this path, it means that somehow deep inside of yourself, you have understood that man's function in this world is to do service on behalf of God to other men. And when that service is what we do, and when we give ourselves willingly to help humanity, it's at that point that we become true human beings. It's at that point that we transcend our attachment to form and we enter into the world of light and truth and God's qualities, and we become God-like in the fact that we act in the way that he acts. May that be the path that each of us finds. May that be the way each of us goes. May that be the understanding that each of us has. May that be the growth that each of us grow into. And may we all become true human beings. Ameen, ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.